Alrighty, what's good everybody? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today I'm going to be basically explaining why I was completely wrong about Skylanders Superchargers. For so long, I've always hated on this game. I never really liked it that much, but I discovered recently, after streaming it and playing it pretty much all day, I played it for like 5 hours straight. I had so much fun with it, and I want to explain basically some of the stuff that I was wrong about and exactly why I'm beginning to actually love this game and why it was the absolute most fun I've ever had with this game and the most fun I've had with Skylanders in general in a very long time. I'm going to explain all this in this video and basically what I love about this game so much now. So in Skylanders Superchargers, I never really liked the driving sections in the main story that much, but what I did always enjoy was the racing sections. I thought actually racing against other Skylanders characters and other Skylanders villains was always something that was pretty cool to do in the game, but I never realized exactly how much content there was behind it and exactly how much fun and exactly how fun and addicting this mode can be when you start playing it. Basically, I played this game on stream and I really liked it. I really liked playing it. I actually had a ton of fun with it, but by the end of the stream I wanted to try out the racing mode, and I did, and it was very fun, but I didn't do too hot, and then I decided to play it the next morning, and I had a lot more fun with it. When you start playing the racing mode and actually start doing the boss pursuits, it is really fun. It becomes very addicting. You want to just play and race against these villains and race against like all these Mabus and different Skylanders. It is really cool. I really think the racing mode in this game was done pretty well, and all the different vehicles with their different attacks and abilities are really fun to use, especially Sky and Sea. I'm not the biggest fan of land racing, but I think that Sky and Sea were both really good in this game. And something else that I do really like about it is the maps. The levels that you play through on the racing modes, they've referenced so many previous games and so many different enemies. I mean, you've got ones, there's this big desert that's just basically all themed around Chef Pepperjack. There's like a whole chompy level that you can race through. There's a bunch of stuff. There's the lair of the Golden Queen. They completely brought that back and revamped it. It is really cool. They referenced a lot of previous Skylanders levels within this game, which I think it is really cool actually, because this is something you don't see much of Skylanders. You normally, when you move to the next game, you pretty much forget all about the previous game and the fact that it even existed, but not for this one. For this one, you actually got to race in all these places that you've been to before, and with these characters that you're familiar with, which is honestly really cool. Now, the next thing that I want to mention is that boss pursuit is super fun. Actually being able to like race against these bosses and you have to defeat them in a race is super cool, and then you get to unlock them for your racing team. It is really cool. I think the trophies for this game were done very well, being able to like actually use this trophy, and then you unlock the ability to do these boss pursuits and chase down and defeat these bosses, and then you get to use the villain. You get to basically add the villain to your trophy, and then from there you can use them in any race whenever you want just by using that trophy. The trophies are super cool because it is like having 4 vehicles and 4 Skylanders all on one little trophy, and they're all saved to it. It's really cool. I really like that touch. It's like if you don't want to race, which is using whatever Skylander and whatever villain, you can place the trophy on and select from any of your 4 villains with their vehicle combos, which I think is really cool. I think it's definitely took some inspiration from the traps from Trap Team, which I honestly think is really good. It's basically the vehicle equivalent of trapping Skylanders, and then you have the option to play as them, whatever, but you don't have to deal with some stupid villain vault, which honestly I don't think that was handled that bad, but it's still kind of annoying. You can just use them on the fly whenever they're all saved to that trophy at once, which is really cool. Now, the roster of characters for the racing mode, when you do the full villain cup and play against all the villains, you're playing against, when doing land races, some of the villains are Glumshanks, Chompy Mage, Dr. Crankcase, Pinata, Broccoli Guy, and more. That is such a solid roster. The fact that, Glumshanks and Chompy Mage are already there, like, that should show you just the quality of the roster. Like, it is really nice. And then for C, there's Golden Queen, Spell Slamzer, Gulper, Mesmerelda, Chill Bill, and more. It is, there's such a good roster. This brings back so many villains from previous Skylanders games, even like 3DS games. It is really cool. I actually love how this system works, where you're playing against all of these classic villains that everyone loves, a bunch of them from Trap Team, which I'm sure everyone can appreciate, and it is really cool. And then the last section, the Sky, you have Wolfgang, Chaos, Hoodsicle, Captain Cluck, Lord Stratosphere, and more. I mean, this is such a solid collection. I mean, Captain Cluck is absolutely awesome. He was one of the fan favorite villains in this game and in SWAT Force, so it's super cool to be able to have him, and you can play as him. Some of these villains that I mentioned you can't play as, some of them you can play as, but it is really awesome. Like, either way, being able to race against these guys, and then some of them you can race as. Chaos, I mean, if you have the Chaos trophy, you can literally just put that on the portal and use Chaos right off the bat. It's pretty awesome. And honestly, this is one of the best post games I think Skylanders has to offer. Like, the content in this is very accessible, and all you need is the racing trophies that are pretty dang cheap. The Sky, the Sea, and the Chaos one are all very cheap. The Land one I know is expensive just because it comes with Double Their Trigger Happy, and he is a pretty rare Skylander. But if you want the Sea, the Sky, and the Chaos ones, which in my opinion, Sea and Sky are much better than Land Racing, then they are going to be very cheap to get the Wolfgang one, the Golden Queen one, and the Chaos one. And they unlock, what, in total 9 villains that you can play as with them and their vehicle. Like, it is super awesome, especially since all their vehicles have unique movesets and designs and speeds and all that. It is really dang cool. And this is honestly, like, after doing all this racing, doing all the boss pursuits, all the villain cups, it was so much fun, and I have not had this much fun with Skylanders in so long. I get if you don't like racing games, you might not like this nearly as much as I did, but it was so dang fun. So I highly encourage anyone who has some of these trophies laying around maybe, or just hasn't messed around with the racing mode too much, I would highly recommend that you guys give it a shot, because it is so much fun, and it's addicting. If you get into it and you start playing as these villains, start racing with them, you can have an absolute blast doing it. Alrighty, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this is really just an experience that I had and what I personally think of this game after playing it for quite a bit of time. So I'm sure I might have experiences like this with other Skylanders games in the future. I'm not totally sure though. If you guys agree with what I said, please be sure to tell me in the comments down below, making me feel like I'm not going crazy just from like one day of playing this game. But I had so much fun playing it and making this video. So let me know what you guys think, and I will hopefully get back to you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So bye guys.